Krishna. Jai Nitai Gaur.
ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ ज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Vakati Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Vakati Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Bandhu Moye Savadana Mate Bandhu Moye Savadana Mate Jahara prasare bai e baba toriya jai. Krishna prapti hoy jaha Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy the. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Arana rati aise uttamagati Shri Guru Charane rati aise uttamagati Je prasare pure sarva asha Je prasare pure sarva Je prasare pure sarva asha Je prasare pure sarva asha Chakurandilo janme janme Prabhu se Chakurandilo janme janme Prabhu se janme janme Prabhu se Divya gyan rire prakashito Divya gyan rire prakashito Divya gyan rire prakashito Prema bhakti jahaite avidya vinasa jate Prema bhakti jahaite Prema bhakti jahaite avidya vinasa jate Vere gaye jara charito Vere gaye jara charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Tamadnara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Aramadnara Bandhu Lokanat Lokera Jivana Lokanat Lokera Jivana Prabhu Korodoya Deho More Parachaya Prabhu Korodoya Prabhu Korodoya Deho More Parachaya Prabhu Korodoya Evidas Goshu Krivana Evidas Goshu Krivana Prabhu Parpati Tapavana Pare Laila Sharana Rui Pare Laila Sharana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Srimate Bhakti Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashachari Shatarini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashachari Shatarini Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Guru Puja Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajagacharya Tatar Sada Shishimad. His Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Kandabiti Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajagacharya Tatar Sada Shishimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्रद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज राधा कुंज गिर गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री पुष्टम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगमाय जमुनामाय की जय। भक्ति देव की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी देव महारानी की जय। श्री गदाधर हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। बृहत मृदंग की जय। श्री परमकांताय गौर चंद्र की जय। Samved Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachadini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatari. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only ways by which you can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scripture sings of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, please be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the 3 worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. You are the safe of the most fallen. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vrindaye Tulsi Divyaye Priyaye Kesavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradadevi Sachavataye Namo Namah. Vrindaye Tulsi Divyaye Priyaye Kesavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradadevi Sachavataye Namo Namah. Vrindaye Tulsi Divyaye Priyaye Kesavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradadevi Sachavataye Namo Namah. Divyaye Priyaye Vishnu Bhakti Pradadevi Sachavataye Namo Namah. Srimati Vrindadev Tulsi Dev Maharani ki. Namo Namah Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namah Tulasi Krishna Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Kripa kore koratare Vrindavana vasi Moraye avela Velas kunjeriya Krishna Rasiko Jai Ram Murai Shri Radha Govinda Premisara Jinavasi Shri Radha Govinda Premisara Jinavasi Yani kani cha papani brahmachari kani cha tani tani pranashante pradikshina pare pare Yani kani cha papani brahmachari kani cha tani tani pranashante pradikshina pare pare Yani kani cha papani brahmachari kani cha tani tani pranashante pradikshina pare pare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi, Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi. Shrimati Vrindadevi Tulsidev Maharani ki jai. Vrindaya Tulsidevyaya Priyaya Kesava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Padadevi Sachavatai Namo Namah. Vrindaya Tulsidevyaya Priyaya Kesava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Padadevi Sachavatai Namo Namah. Vrindaya Tulsidevyaya Priyaya Kesava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Padadevi Sachavatai Namo Namah. Shrimati Vrindadevi Tulsidev Maharani ki jai. O Tulsi, beloved of Krishna, I warum before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Bestow your mercy upon him, you make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you will also grant me residence in the pleasure groves of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Thus that in my vision I'll always behold the beautiful pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the cohort damsels of Braj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna praise may always swim in love of Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimad Tulsi Dev Maharani ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavare Pashachare Shatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Raskatyade Shatarine
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava
Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Girivara Dari
Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivadadari Jaya Girivadadari.
Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Girivara Dari
Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivadadari Jaya Girivadadari.
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya
Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava 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 Jaya Kunja Vihari
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Param Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra Jaya Param Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gaura Chanja Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gaura Chanja
Jaya Radha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, I'd like to welcome all the devotees who are joining in, who are participating in our Sunday Love Feast here at Hare Krishna Study Center. So as you all are aware, we are in the midst of observing a very auspicious month, the month of Damodar or Kartik Mas, as is commonly known. Very auspicious because Krishna enacted wonderful childhood pastimes during this period, and also this month is symbolic because it represents the month of Srimati Radharani, and Srimati Radharani is the symbol of devotion or devotional service. So already, we are already through, like halfway through the Kartik Mas, and so many activities, so many festivals have been completed, and yet there are many more auspicious days, upcoming events. So just last week, as you will remember, just a few days ago was Govardhan Puja, Deepavali and all that. So in a similar way, tomorrow is very auspicious, is very important for each and every one of us. Tomorrow is the disappearance anniversary of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada has a very special position, being the founder Acharya of our International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And each and every one of us have a direct relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So on his disappearance, tomorrow we'll want to more and more to reminisce and to remember what Srila Prabhupada has given to us, what he has done for us, and how should we be grateful to him. Now that we are given this opportunity to be part of this movement, how can we, please Srila Prabhupada? How can we show our gratitude to him? So for today's morning presentation, we'll be hearing from one of our senior most member or senior most devotee in our Caribbean. He's no other than His Grace Rajarshi Prabhu. Hari Bol! So Rajarshi Prabhu is joining us on Zoom, and we are encouraging all devotees, for those of you who are on Facebook, YouTube, and even on Zoom, you please encourage your other family members, friends, and other devotees to please join in. We're going to hear a very special presentation from Rajarshi Prabhu on Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, and also importance of the month of Damodar, importance of the month of Kartik. So let us all welcome Prabhu in our usual way of loudly 3 times chanting, Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hare Krishna. Rajarshi Prabhu, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing. Are you all hearing me?
Yes, Prabhu. So you can please go right ahead.
Hare Krishna. Om Gyanati Mirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hari Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, as Sachisuta Prabhu mentioned, we all have a direct relationship with Srila Prabhupada in that we belong to his ISKCON society. So today we are going to reflect a bit, discuss a bit about the glories of Srila Prabhupada, the contribution he has made, but towards the end, very important, how can we take shelter or benefit from what he has given to us? So, yes, in the modern age, there has been so many gurus. Even before Srila Prabhupada came to the West, you had people who, a lot of people thought, oh, this was a big deal, great. We had Swami Vivekananda came to World Conference in Chicago, and that was supposed to be such a big deal. So many other Swamis came. How was Srila Prabhupada distinguished from all these Swamis and gurus? Many popular ones. How was Srila Prabhupada distinguished from them? By being a representative of God, Krishna. And with this criteria, we could measure the rest of them with this criteria. Srila Prabhupada said, Guru means he is a representative of God. He has to represent God. So, who were all the many others who started different movements? Who were they representing? Who were they teaching their followers to worship? That would define them, who they are. There's nothing ambiguous about Srila Prabhupada and who he represented, what he represented. A very solid foundation. The Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition coming down from Lord Krishna, Brahma, Narada, Vyasa. Srila Prabhupada represented this disciplic succession. But then Srila Prabhupada is distinguished even among the acharyas in the disciplic succession by his special role, the special role that he played. Yes, we know Krishna came as the Yuga avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago. And he made the prophecy that his teachings, his holy names will be heard and sung in every town and village of the world. He made that prophecy. But it was Srila Prabhupada who actually fulfilled that prophecy. That's the special role Srila Prabhupada played. That, okay, Krishna said, Lord Chaitanya said, in every town and village of the world, those who have sumedhasha, good intelligence, they would perform worship in this age by the chanting of the holy names. And Srila Prabhupada made that available all over the world. Even in the eyes of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada was very special. When Srila Prabhupada was first taken, this is in 1922, by a friend, Narendra Molik, he urged Srila Prabhupada, come see the special sadhu. Srila Prabhupada was reluctant. Every day, he said my father would feed so many sadhus. He didn't take that so seriously. But his friend insisted because Srila Prabhupada was like the leader among the group. So if Srila Prabhupada would endorse this sadhu, then, he will be taken seriously by the others. Srila Prabhupada finally agreed and went. Being brought up in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, they knew how to respect a sannyasi as they offered obeisances. As they got up, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta shockingly said, "You're educated young men, you should spread this teaching of Lord Chaitanya all over the world." And Srila Prabhupada, being a follower of Gandhi's Swaraj movement, fighting for independence from the British, he put up a fight. Who would follow this teaching when we are subjugated, we are, under foreign rule? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati soundly refuted his argument by saying that this message does not depend on who is ruling on these temporary circumstantial situations. This message is a message beyond. It is eternal. It is meant to deliver the eternal souls from all these conditions. And Srila Prabhupada was convinced and he was impressed. He said at that point, I accepted him as my spiritual master. It's interesting that Srila Prabhupada said, and the devotees observed, that every 11-year period in his life, there was something very auspicious and significant that came about. So in 1922, he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, his guru. But it was 11 years after, in 1933, that he actually took initiation. He was initiated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. That order of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and that initial meeting was reinforced by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, that you preach this message to the English-speaking world. 11 years after, 1944, Srila Prabhupada started Back to Godhead magazine. This was quite a big attempt for Srila Prabhupada in that period of time. His struggle. Wrote the articles, edited it, would go struggle to purchase paper, go to the printer. With great difficulty, the printer said Srila Prabhupada would come and he would be in arrears, not pay the bill, but then he want to continue printing again. He would, the printer would tell him that, you have to pay the bill, and Srila Prabhupada would say, yes, I would pay, please print. Because he was the only distributor. Yes, Srila Prabhupada was the only distributor of Back to Godhead magazine. And it wasn't easy going for him. Going to tea stalls in the hot sun. In Delhi, it gets very, very hot in the summertime. Yes. Once on the street, he was attacked and gored by a bull on the street. Yes. He had a some period he got an old bicycle. One person commented that, on the old bike that he had, that as he would pedal, the chain would be knocking on the side and making the sound. So this person noticed when he would hear the sound of this broken bike, this old bike, he would know Abhay Babu is coming with his Back to Godhead magazine. Yes. But Srila Prabhupada, he displayed his determination to convey the message of the disciplic succession. He made a great attempt to distribute Back to Godhead magazine. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, on different occasions, he revealed his insight into Srila Prabhupada and what he would do. Once in Bombay, Bhakti Siddhanta was told that Abhay Babu, why don't we get him fully involved, make him the president of this mat? And Bhakti Siddhanta said, no. Let him remain independent and do what he is doing. When the time comes, he'll do everything by himself. There was another account by one god brother of Srila Prabhupada, a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta, Nayanananda Babaji, who was the pujari of one temple, Champahati, in Navadvip. And he tells this account of on one occasion, on the last day of the Gaur Mandal Parikram, a huge program that Bhakti Siddhanta would organize. At that program, on that day, one of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta's disciples had returned from London by boat after an not so successful attempt at preaching there. He came. Bhakti Siddhanta looked at this big audience. It was a huge crowd. He looked at the sannyasis. He was expressing the urgent need and the desire of Bhakti Vinod Thakur that this message be spread all over the world. It was his mother, Bhagavati Devi's last wish expressed to him, Bhakti Siddhanta, that this be fulfilled. He said he was willing to take as much the lifeblood out of the Gaudiya Math funds for this purpose of investing in spreading the message all over the world. But then this Nayanananda Babaji, he said he experienced something very mystical was happening. Srila Prabhupada, or Bhakti Siddhanta, he looked in the direction of the sannyasis. And then he said, but I have a prediction. I have a prophecy that soon one of my disciples will cross the ocean and bring the whole world together. And Nayanananda said on Bhaktisiddhanta, he looked to the left in his direction, but he wasn't looking at him. So Nayanananda looked behind to see where he was looking. And he saw that he was looking at Abhaya Charanaravinda, Srila Prabhupada, who was at the back of him. Bhaktisiddhanta was making direct eye contact with him while saying that. Later on, he expressed how Srila Prabhupada had fulfilled that prophecy of Bhaktisiddhanta in a very amazing, remarkable way. So he started back to Godhead in 1944. In 1955, 11 years after, he walked out of home. He quit family life in 1955. It was a few years after that he formally took sannyas, but in 1955, he left family life. ISKCON was started in 1966. This Society of ISKCON formally registered 11 years after in 1966 in New York City. Once in discussion with devotees, the devotee said, and Srila Prabhupada, and 11 years after 1977, you would complete Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada said, we would see what Krishna has in plan. But of course, we know it was 1977 when Srila Prabhupada went back to Krishna, when he departed this world. The vision Srila Prabhupada had for the world, without any doubt, he gave quite a wake-up call. The scripture says, Utishta Jagrata, Prapya Vardani Bodhata. Please wake up. Try to understand the Vardhan, the boon you have in the human form. Well, Srila Prabhupada, through this ISKCON society, did make a significant impact, a significant call all over the world with his message. Yes, waking up a great number of people the world over. Srila Prabhupada actually did it. Now, from our point of view, yes, it is glorious. Anyone who actually is blessed with the vision, anyone who has received the teachings, we know the powerful impact, what we have actually benefited from. What is the benefit we have derived from what Srila Prabhupada has given? We know that. People who have received this, they can see clearly the most glorious contribution of Srila Prabhupada worldwide. But when it comes to us as individuals, yes, people could go along describing he accomplished this, whether schools and temples and farming communities, restaurants all over. We are seeing all these very powerful elements. He distributed the holy names all over the world. We're getting sadhu sangha. to get that strength so we can Bhagavad Shravana, we can hear the glories of the Bhagavad. We could chant the holy names of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada gave us the process of deity worship that we could occupy, engage ourselves in bowing down, pranama dukkha samanash. By bowing down to the Lord, we can free ourselves from all miseries. He gave us these things. But we have to think now, how am I?
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
And think especially of young people, how many changes they would have to go through in their life. Think about someone who may be a student. He has to study very hard because he's trying to put some career together. Then there may be ashram situation change, and ashram you have to take care of a household, family life situation. Somebody may be, job-wise, a challenge. Srila Prabhupada's teachings, the message he has given to us, has to be applied in all these circumstances, all these situations. Difficult as they may be, we have to be willing to take advantage of these teachings and go on practicing. So the Damodar Leela, Mother Yashoda making an attempt to bind her naughty son Krishna. She was exerting quite a bit of effort, really determined to bind Krishna. Now, when Krishna saw all this determination of his mother, finally, he agreed to let himself be bound. So when Mother Yashoda was making this attempt to bind him, each time the rope is 2 fingers too short. So as the acharyas have explained, these 2 fingers too short, one, it is the devotee's effort, the devotee's attempt. But our attempt by itself, it won't work. It won't work. Our attempt is not a mechanical thing, just by my efforts. No. But by the effort that we are making, that invokes Krishna's mercy on us. Prasada Lishanu Grihita Eva Hi, a verse by Lord Brahma in the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Athapite Deva Padambujadvaya Prasada Lishanu Grihita Eva Hi. If we just get Prasada Lishanu, a tiny drop of his mercy, then everything will be attained, everything will be accomplished. And that's where the effort comes in on our part. In the Gita, Krishna says, for one who can practice the regulative principles of freedom, prasadam adi gacchati. That person can get the complete mercy of the Lord. So, from our side, yes, Srila Prabhupada has given this glorious movement, all these wonderful practices, sadhana. Such an amazing thing, although we are living in the age of Kali Yuga. You just look at the lives of other religious people, and you would see there is very little substance of spirituality in their life. Whether we look in terms of knowledge, what knowledge they have, or what sadhana, what spiritual discipline they have, what are the elements of support they have, nothing comes as close to what we have in Krishna consciousness. So, on an occasion like Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, we reflect, we think about our great fortune, we count our blessings, how much we have been given by Srila Prabhupada. I said, to whom much is given, much is expected. We have received a lot. So, one thing that I have learned about changing situations and taking shelter in a very practical way is that last year, when the COVID lockdown really came into effect, it was quite a shocking thing, because imagine, as devotees, our whole life as devotees, we are accustomed to the association, congregating with devotees, kirtan and program and so many things. But then we saw the online development. Yes, it was the challenge for people to come to the temple often to associate. But we found during this period, getting together online, this evolved as time went by. Yes, we were coming together and doing classes. But then, in the course of last year, Vaisheshika Prabhu, they were glorifying the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day. And the devotees, we took that very seriously, that look, we will use this forum online to help each other, because if we have to honor that vow or that obey that instruction of Srila Prabhupada to read his books every day, 2-3 hours a day, that, we may fail miserably. So we took advantage of this forum to read. But then we realized that, hey, wait a minute. We have some new devotees. They really haven't had much experience of what goes on at the temple. So then we decided we would do kirtan also. We would, especially on Ekadashis, we would do, Mangalarti Kirtan, Tulsi Puja Kirtan, we'll do Guru Puja Kirtan, recitation. We would come together and do bhajans. Then we started to chant japa online. If someone by themselves, well, who knows, you wake up, you don't wake up, you chant, you don't chant. But devotees found it very inspiring that we come together online and chant japa. Also, it's inspiring. We're hearing Srila Prabhupada chanting japa, and all his devotees are there, and we feel strength from doing this. So I'm saying about a very practical way in which the new devotees, they are learning since Kartik started. New persons who never heard about Damodar Ashtakam, every day every day we are chanting Damodar Ashtakam. We are reciting a chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. So my point is that with a bit of sacrifice, a bit of inspiration from devotees, we can hold something together that will help us to keep on taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books, his teachings, the practices. We can do it. So I would like to conclude here, and we can have I know there's some time left, but we can hear from devotees as Srila Prabhupada's, disappearance tomorrow, and it'll be nice to hear from some other devotees if you have some contributions, some things to say. So I'll conclude here, and can devotees, anybody have any contribution, questions, comments, anything you would like to contribute?
Hare Krishna. So thank you, Rajarshi Prabhu, for your usual and enlightening presentation. So we have devotees who are on Zoom and also here at the temple. So we encourage you, if you would like to say something, or if you have a question for Prabhu, you can do so now. So there are devotees who are joining from Suriname and Guyana and a few other places as well. Hare Krishna.
So everybody quiet, silent. I'll just add a little again, one of the inspiring things, a lot of people, new people, they haven't read Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrita. We have incorporated Srila Prabhupada's Leela Amrita before we read Srimad Bhagavatam every morning. And that's very, very illuminating for devotees to really, they've really developed a taste to, hear Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrita. So that's one way. The more we know about Srila Prabhupada, the more the more we'll be attached and inclined to follow his teachings and so on. So that's one, additional point to how we can honor Srila Prabhupada. So open again. Anybody, anything?
So yes, Prabhu, the floor is open if anyone would like to share something or maybe ask a question. So Prabhu was thinking like, Srila Prabhupada throughout, let's say, the last set of years, coming down just before he departed, like, throughout his execution of, starting up the Krishna consciousness movement, see that it expands, and then later on to hand over the responsibilities to his disciples. What are some of the what are some of his key instructions or his last instructions that he would have left with us? If you can share that with us.
Well, first of all, that's quite an amazing. When we think about the reality of what Srila Prabhupada did, the people who he were leaving, say 1977, for some of them, 10 years they were with him. You're talking about a person 8, 9, 10 years in spiritual life. How old is that? That's like 8, 9, 10-year-old. How experienced is such a person? Yet, Srila Prabhupada was putting the responsibility of the disciplic succession in the hands of these individuals whom he had trained, some of them personally and some of them indirectly. So in terms of guiding principles, there are so many things that he did, and how he did it is well documented. You have things like Srila Prabhupada's Shiksha Amrita, with so many of his letters and so on. But what is like some codes that are just like, really prominent, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj would mention this. That Srila Prabhupada, he gave these injunctions for his followers, because when an acharya leaves, a lot of organizations don't survive. They just fall apart, they merge into, non-existence and like that. So Srila Prabhupada gave these 3 statements. He said, 1, that the GBC, the Governing Body Commission, is the ultimate governing authority for ISKCON. So that's a very important thing, because generally, the history of the world is split. People do their own thing, they disagree with one another. So this is like something to follow the authority. So then, a very important one is, he said, that your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with one another after I am gone. That your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with one another. So if we really want to keep Srila Prabhupada in the center, Shanta Vigraha Prabhu was making a real nice point a few days ago. That was Govardhan. That was Govardhan Lecter. Yeah, he was speaking about, he made a point about sometimes people use the teachings or they use something to boost their own ego or their own glory or something like that. Like I might be a kirtan leader, and rather than the kirtan process is something for surrendering and glorifying Krishna, I become, glorified as I take the glory of being a great kirtan leader also. So this statement of, your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with one another, that's important. What's the third one I said? The first one is the GBC body is the ultimate governing body of ISKCON. Then your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with one another. My mind is going blank now. What is the third one? Or some of you will have to remember. I've repeated this so many times. Somebody remember the third one? All right. Maybe it will come sooner or later. But yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. So, are there any points finally from the devotees?
Well, Sachi, you could do some kirtan too. If nobody has anything, then you could do some kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So you were mentioning about the activities that you all were doing during lockdown and maybe still are doing regarding reading of Srila Prabhupada's books, and you sort of mentioned also new devotees who don't exactly have the experience of reading Srila Prabhupada's books or the taste for reading Srila Prabhupada's books. It comes about when you do it in groups. But recently, for our when we were doing offerings for Srila Prabhupada, the 125 written offerings, we compiled in our local Vyasa Puja book. Many points came up through reading those offerings, and people are expressing their gratitude. But in some cases, we don't know what we should be grateful for, and then how to express that gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. So how can we recognize, how can we feel that gratitude within? How can we develop that grateful spirit, recognize it, and then express it to Srila Prabhupada? I don't know if my question is clear.
All right. Well, different people may be in different situations. For example, Hari Kirtan, you were born and brought up as devotees, but when Srila Prabhupada was addressing this point about, he said, you think about where you were, where you are now, and by whose mercy you have made this change. And if we're talking about people who join Prabhupada, well, even in your case, being brought up as a devotee, what were the elements you were fed to be brought up to who you are now? What were the elements? Your parents and you grew up with things that were all Srila Prabhupada's contributions. So Srila Prabhupada told his followers, think about where you were. You were some hippie, you were this, you were that. So you were there. Now you are in this situation. Now think, by whose mercy you have attained this situation. So gratitude, if we just compare our life as devotees to the greater mass of people out there, if we know something about what is virtuous, divine life, what is godly life, what is sinless life compared to sinful life, we could appreciate that, look, Srila Prabhupada saved us from a lot of bills we could have been paying. Suppose somebody had some smoking habit, right? And you became a devotee and you stopped smoking. Well, you could write a check to Prabhupada that for so many years, you saved me spending so much money on cigarette bill. And you could write another check for the alcohol bill. And whatever you used to pay money for. And in terms of, how much chicken neck you were cutting or how much, you could send another check to Srila Prabhupada for canceling your appointment with the Yamadutas. That's a big one. You'll have to send a big check to Srila Prabhupada that, you change my course. Srila Prabhupada said, this modern day society is geared towards hell. You put the reverse gear in, you go back. But these people have the hell gear in. They're heading to hell. So we could just compare our life with the lives of so many people out there. Think of how many people are distressed. Yes, they're taking the intoxication. It's available. They're taking it, but it doesn't mean that they're happy. Dushparena nalena cha. The lust is never satisfied, it's being burned like fire. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us a process that is bringing about a higher taste. How much can we pay to Srila Prabhupada for giving us that higher taste, with connecting to us to Krishna? So at least we can feel the gratitude in that way by seeing, look, I am saved from a pretty, bad situation. I have a much better situation now by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Hari Kirtan?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. I see Peter has his hand raised. Prabhupada, Prabhu?
I thought you were stopping me. I thought you were stopping me. You were saying, stop there.
Here you go. You can check, see if participants can unmute. Just make sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Raj Prabhu, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation on Srila Prabhupada and gearing up our consciousness for Srila Prabhupada's appearance. Well, just a little reminder that the third point was that don't jump out of the boat.
Oh, no matter what, never leave
Never
ISKCON.
leave ISKCON.
No matter what, never leave ISKCON.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe I had it written here. It's just I wasn't following my notes. ISKCON, the boat to take shelter. Yeah. ISKCON, the boat. ISKCON is a boat, right? Yeah. So I had it written down there, but yeah, go ahead.
I think that was it for him. I think
All
he was
right.
just reminding.
He was just reminding us of the third point,
Yeah.
right?
So, thank you very much, Rajarshi Prabhu, for a wonderful session this morning and preparing our minds for tomorrow, Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. And we invite all the devotees who are present here on Zoom and also on Facebook and YouTube. You can all join us tomorrow virtually, but even better, it would be nice if you can also come physically to the temple. Of course, following COVID-19 regulations and everything. Not just come to the temple, but you can also bring offerings to Srila Prabhupada, fruits, cooked offerings, flowers, anything you would like to bring for Srila Prabhupada. It's his disappearance day, and we can all imagine if Srila Prabhupada, we can all relive that pastime. We can read of that pastime, and we can try to relive it tomorrow. And it might be a bit emotional, but yet still we can try to relive that pastime. And in reliving that pastime, we can bring a gift for our Srila Prabhupada here at the temple. So thank you very much again, Rajarshi Prabhu, and thank you everyone for kindly joining in. We can all now stand for Artik. Those who are here there virtually, you can also stand for Artik. You can also stand for Artik, and we'll have darshan of Shri Shri Paramakaruna Nitai Gaur Chandra. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gora Chanja Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gora Chanja 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 Jaya Paramakaruna 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 Jaya Nitai Gora Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Jaya Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Jaya Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra
निताय गौर चंद्र श्री श्री परम करुण निताय गौर चंद्र की जय।
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवारी भ्रष्टाचारेशतारिणे।
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachari Shatarine.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai Gaura Chandra Parama Karuna Nitai Gaura Chandra
Jaya Paramakkarura Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakkarura Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Gaur Haribo
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol
Shri Parama Karuna Nitai Gaur Chandra
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajakacharya Shtatar Sarashishimar. His Divine Grace S.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Vibhuti Fongracharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajakacharya Shtatar Sarashishimar. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज राधा कुंज गिर गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री पुरुषोत्तम श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माया जमुना माया की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी देव महारानी की जय। Shri Yogadharma Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Books Distribution ki jai. Brihat Mridanga ki jai. Shri Paramakartai Gaur Chandra ki jai. Shri Jagannath Ballabh Subhaj Maharani ki jai. Shri Radharamrar ki jai. Shri Dhamrar Mas ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shanyavari Paschachari Shatarini.
Namaste Narasimhaya Praladaladaine Hiranyakashipu Takshaha Shilatanka Nakalae Ito Natsima Parato Natsima Yato Yamitato Natsima Bahe Natsimo Hitahe Natsimo Narashinga Madim Shadanam Prapaje Tavatara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadita Nadadi Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Tavatara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadesha Hare Jai Jagadesha Hare Jaya Nashingade Jaya Nashingade Jaya Nashingade Jaya Nashingade Jaya Nashingade Jaya Nashingade Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So we're going to perform the Damodar Artik. And for those of you who are here for the last 2 weeks, by now you know the procedure. To come forward, you do Achmanam, purify your hands. You take one of the lighted ghee lamps and you're offering. So there's a picture with baby Krishna Mother Yashoda in the center of the altar. And you're offering 4 times. With your right hand, you're offering a ghee lamp 4 times to the feet of baby Krishna, 2 times to his waist, 3 times around his head, and 7 times around his body. So I go that over again, 4 to the feet, 2 to the waist, 3 times around the head, 7 times around his body. And then you can offer like 3 times to Mother Yashoda, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, to Srila Prabhupada and to all the devotees. And then you place your lighted wick in the rice plate that is there, and you can offer your obeisances afterwards. So devotees will be there to purify our hands, so you please come in. 4 or 5 devotees can come at a time, Prabhus, Matajis, and we'll perform the Damodar Artik to Lord Damodar. Namamishwaram Sachid Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana
Chitanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana
Yashodabhiyo Lokaladavamanam Paramishtamadyantato Drutya Gopya
Yashodabhiyo Loka Ladavamanam Paramrishtamadyan Tatu Jutya Gopya
Ruranta Mohornitra Yugmam Nijantam Karamboja Yugmina Satankanitra
Rudam Tamu Nitra Yogmam Jantam Karamboja Yogmena Satankanitra
Mohoswasakam Patrire Kankakanta Sita Garvam Damodaram Bhaktivara
Mohoshwas Pati De Kankakanta Sitagrivam Damud Ram Bhaktivadam
Iti Dikshalilabe Ananda Kunde Swagoshami Majanta Akyapayanta
Iti Jekalilavir Ananda Kunde Swakusham Nima Jantam Akyapayanta
Tare Sita Gesho Bhakta Ejitadva Puna Prematastam Shata Vriti Vande
Tadeshita Jesho Bhakte Jitadvam Puna Prematam Sata Vritti Vande
Varam Deva Mokshamna Mokshavarim Vana Chanyam Vreneham Varisaratiha
Varam Deva Mokshamna Moksha Vadimva Natanyam Viniham Varishad Apiha
Iram Deva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadamimanasya Virastam Kimanye
Idam Deva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadame Manas Sisi Dashtam Kim Anye
Idam Te Mokham Boja Ajantanele Vritam Kuntale Snigna Raktashagopya
Idam Te Mukam Bojam Adyantanele Vitam Kuntale Snigda Raktasya Gopya
Mohoshumitam Bimba Raktararame Manasya Virastam Aram Lakshalabha
Mohosumbitam Bimba Rakta Dadame Manasya Viras Salam Lakshalabeya
Namo Deva Dhamodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukha Shalabhimana
Namo Devada Moda Nananta Vishnu Prashidam Dukkha Jalabhimagnam
Namo Deva Dhamodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukha Jalabhimana
Namo Devada Moda Nananta Vishnu Prashida Prabhu Dukkha Jalabhimagnam
Kripa Drishte Vrishyate Dinam Mathanu Kriyanisha Mamagya Meri Akshe Drisha
Kripa Jeshveshyate Dinam Bhatanu Yanishamam Ajnam Edi Aksya
Koviratmaja Bhara Mujay Vayadva Tvaya Mutita Bhakti Bhaja Kritaosha
Viramaja Bada Mujay Vayadvat Swayam Mutita Bhakti Bhaja Kritaosha
Tata Prema Bhaktim Swakame Prayacha Namo
Chidraho Misti Dhamudareha.
Tatapi mapat Prayacha Namo Shivrao Mesti Tadima.
Namaste Sudame Suradiptirame Variyodharayata Vishwasharame.
Namaste Tudame Suradaptidame Swadhyudanarayata Vipachadame.
Namo Radhikaya Tvandiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Dovya.
Namo Radhikaya Twadya Priyaya Namo Nantanilaya Devaya Tubhyam.
Namo Radhikaya Tvandiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Dovya.
Namo Radhikaya Twadya Priyaya Namo Nantanilaya Devaya Tubhyam.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe.
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 Jaya Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara.
Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara.
Jaya Damodara Jaya Damodara Jaya Damodara Jaya Damodara.
Jaya Damodara Jaya Damodara
Jaya Damodara Jaya Damodara.
Translation. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who I, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who was being caught from behind by Hor, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he's crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conception of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this?
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me.
O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me by showering your glance of mercy upon me. Deliver this poor, ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
O Lord Damodar, just as the two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Alkuvera, were delivered from the course of Narad and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar, in the same way, please give to me your own Prema Bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation.
O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki
Jai Jai.
Hare Krishna. So we want to first of all take this opportunity in thanking all the devotees who would have joined in and participated in today's Sunday Love Feast. So we also especially like to thank all those who would have come early this morning to assist with the various services. As you all know, it takes quite a bit to organize and get ready for the Sunday Feast. So let us put our hands together for all those devotees who would have assisted with the various services. Jai. So, as you would have heard, tomorrow we're going to celebrate and observe the most glorious disappearance of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya. So we are having a midday program. This disappearance day means offering Pushpanjali and having a midday feast being offered to Srila Prabhupada. So that program will begin at around 10:30 tomorrow here at the temple. So encouraging devotees to take advantage of it, and we'll get an opportunity to offer flowers, make offerings to Srila Prabhupada as an offering of gratitude, and to remember him for his contribution, for his, without him we would not have been here. So later on this week on Thursday also we are observing Gopashtami, and it is also the disappearance. Jai Shri Shri Paramakarnitai Gaur Chandra Ki Jai. Thursday we will be observing Gopashtami festival, and also various disappearances are on that day also. Different associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's the disappearance of Gadadhar Das Goswami, the disappearance of Dhananjaya Pandit, and the disappearance of Srinivas Acharya. So next Sunday also it will be Ekadashi. So Ekadashi fasting will be for next Sunday, and Sunday the 14th also will be the Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's disappearance. And it's also the 4th day of Bhishma Pancha. So these are upcoming programs. Please remember to tune in to our regular weekly programs during this Kartik month. The Krishna book reading is there on Wednesdays and Friday. It will be Wednesdays and Friday evening, 7 p.m. And then also, so Amaranjas Prabhu's class on Venu Gita, which used to come at 7 in the morning, it is coming at 8 o'clock now. So please take advantage of Prabhu's very mesmerizing and very, what you will say, that's a treat. That's a Kartik treat to hear from him every single day. And then television program is there on NTN every Wednesday as well. So should there be any upcoming programs, we will keep you informed. So these are, so this, this link tree, this link that is here on WhatsApp, you can see there's an option to join the temple's WhatsApp group. And through this WhatsApp group, all the invitations, all the programs are being broadcasted. So that's an easy way how you can keep updated to know what's upcoming, what's the program, the time, and all that. So thank you all once again to all the devotees. Please take prasad to your fullest satisfaction, and we shall see you soon. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.